The purpose of this video is to show you guys what arm exercises I do on a day-to-day basis to counteract the stress that I put on my arms with pushing a wheelchair. This is the one that I start off first every day just because I like to have a good routine. I do this one, which is pretty much extensions of your triceps. You can do several different exercises that do involve your triceps, like you can lean down with a weight and bring it up, and that also uses the same muscle groups, but I just find this is an easy one to do, but you can do it like all different ways. Practically I don't really count, I just do as many as I possibly can on each arm because it's like a known fact I can't count to save myself. A lot of people do it to the side and stretch it out like that, but it's best, like, see, I'm holding, one hand is just held at the back of my chair and I keep that one stable, and then I just move this one up, usually approximately in line with my head. So this next one I do, I use my chair as an anchor point, and practically all I do is I lift, I might tighten that one, but lift my arm straight up. I don't know exactly what specific muscles this uses. Often it's best to do it like slower than faster, is it's working your body harder. This is the third Theraband exercise that I do. It's just a pretty basic one. It involves your pecs and I think your triceps as well, not 100% sure. But you pretty much hold a Theraband like as a box shape and just stretch out, only straightening your arms with both sides. I will show you some exercises using the Theraband that are really good for general strength around your shoulder blades, because they are the main area that you're using for propelling your chair all the time. So this is another very important one that I do, which is behind the head, and you lightly squeeze your shoulder blades together and just go out like this. Now, often when pushing, your arms seem to curve in slightly as a natural response, and that is something that is very bad for your shoulders in the long term, as your shoulders and arms will end up curving in, and it's not a great look and it's not very good for you. So what this exercise is going to do is to try and bring your shoulders further back by strengthening your pecs, which is something that's very important. So this is how we do it. We pretty much hold the Theraband like this, or you can attach it to a wall. That is like often a lot easier to do. And then we just extend our arm outwards. Ideally you have your elbow tucked in right next to your body, and all you're doing is turning out your arm. But we're doing this with the Theraband, so we're really strengthening your pecs in here. I really like to end these exercises with a nice stretch, as often since you're pushing all the time, your arms can get really tight. After my Theraband exercises, or in between them, I like to give myself a little bit of a break and just hold this Theraband up like this, fairly tight, reaching back, which is a really nice stretch for your arms and your pecs, and you can feel it all the way up your arms. So you can get different strengths of Therabands. I think this one is a fairly firm. You can get ones that are like so thin they're see-through, which is often used like on smaller muscles, but since at the moment I'm using bigger muscle groups, usually I go for a thicker Theraband. Some people have Therabands that are so thick, like the athletes, they actually look like car tires. These Therabands I don't use actually as much, because I prefer ones that are a straight strip, because when you hold it there's more material and it sort of like creases in your hands and kind of like isn't as easy to stretch and pull. So I have some different ones at home that are like just a straight piece of like different grades of rubber. This Theraband actually had handles, which we chopped them off because it's easier to hold in your hand as it's got a smaller diameter. Unlike the other piece of rubber, it doesn't crease in your hand when you go to use it. We went and bought these at a shop that makes rubber, which you can go and cut to measure. So these are just rubber strips that are different strengths, so you can get it pretty much like these Therabands here, but often you can get them so they're actually harder to stretch. Most of the exercises that I do is Theraband based, but I also do some weight exercise as well, which I'm going to show you right now. So this first one is outward flyers. I'm only using a 1 kilo weight here because I feel that it's best to go for a lighter weight and do more of them when you're doing endurance-based work, and then heavier weights when you're going for more like power, shorter sprints. So first of all, I put my front casters facing forward because it gives my chair a longer in length, so it's better for balance when I'm leaning forward, is it could tip forward with my chair. So here we go. Typically I would normally do about 30 or 40 of these, as like I said before, I usually go for endurance with something like this. Now this is a small muscle group that we're using here, as I believe it's your triceps, but since you're going against gravity as you're going upwards, it's actually very difficult to do. So that's one of the reasons why I'm starting off with a really light weight. When I first started doing these, I think I had to use half a kilo weight. Normally I use 2 kilos, but I just thought I'd show you the one first. With this next exercise, I use it a lot to strengthen my shoulder blades when pushing my racing chair. So this one, I lift the weight up and all I'm doing is just rotating my shoulders back and then bring them forward and bring them back again. The trick with this one is to not bend your arm, because that's what your body wants to do to make it easier for you, so it's not as much your shoulder doing the work, but it's actually just your arm. So take note of that one. Now another exercise that I like doing is this one because it incorporates two things. You do a tricep curl plus extension of your arms above your head, which is another one that your shoulder is not naturally doing all the time, so it really strengthens other muscles that you don't use that often. So here we go, I'll show how I do it. Now something that people often don't do correctly is they don't twist while they go up. That is essential for your shoulders, as it's not as natural just doing like that, but when you twist you get the rotation of your forearm, which is using another group of muscles that wouldn't usually be used. With that exercise, I wouldn't usually use a 3 kilo weight, but I would often go for a 4 or maybe even a 5, because I just had this one on hand, so I thought I'd show you with it. I would normally also do about 20 of those lift ups with pulling your shoulder back, because that's what I feel comfortable with. This is a wrist strengthening exercise that I do as my wrist often gets quite tired. As with pushing a chair, you often flick your wrist when pushing, or when you push a racing chair, you flick back and behind you. So this is what I do to strengthen this little muscle right in here, as it can often get quite sore when you're pushing a lot. Normally I'll do about 20 of these and then change arms. It's very important to have a surface that you can lean on, as it's always not the same doing it in the air. I hope this video gave you a bit of an insight into my life and what I do on a day-to-day basis, or either provided you with a bit of relief with any shoulder pain that you're having at the moment, or stress that you're putting on your body. So hope to see you later for another video coming up soon. If you have any further suggestions or ideas for other videos, feel free to write them in the comments below.